believe I've experienced the best of hip hop in my era. My era was the Tupac Biggie era, and that's my opinion only. But I think that era, I don't ever think hip hop will reach the heights of that time ever again. I mean, it's already changing, um, drill music, trap music, but anyway, that's not my era. This is Tupac and Biggie. That was my era, and so I had kind of forgotten about that time in my life. As we grow older and as we move on and do other things and have professional careers, um, those younger days are gone. But in July 2023, that is when I saw the headline for Keffe and his house being raided in connection to Tupac's murder. And I was just flooded with emotion, and it just came out of nowhere, and it started with, it was just a lot of emotions. All the way up to exhilaration. I started thinking about times that I had forgotten about in my youth and growing up, and memories. But it also kind of aroused a trauma, whether it was known or unspoken, but just the trauma about that time and that era, and how, yeah, someone did kill Tupac and the Notorious Big. And they were two giants. You have to be from that era to understand how big they were. And so it did bring about a little question. And so in my free time, I started retracing the story of the death, with the narrative that's on the table, just because I wanted to know what happened to him. And there's so many theories out there, so many accusations, you just don't know what to believe. So when I started, the overwhelming narrative was that Tupac got into the fight with Orlando Anderson, and Crips, Bloods, dirty cops, four guys in a car, woo woo woo. This narrative was basically created by Kading. Sooner or later, however, when I started to arrange pieces just in my free time, things just didn't really fit. And I was hearing all these other interviews and podcasts from places that I didn't expect, where I was really getting the true story. I was really hearing what was going on, and it was not what Kading and Keffe and that whole murder rap book and movie depicted, in my opinion. So what did seemingly fit was, again, some of the narratives that had been buried just with his bodyguards, hip hop magazines. And like I said, podcasts was like old DJs, they have it on the internet, and you'd have this DJ and he's talking to a couple of magazine editors, and they're just talking about what's going on at that time. And what was going on at that time was crazy. Everybody, number one, was absolutely terrified of Suge Knight. Russell Poole had a completely different theory. It's completely different from what Kading and Keffe were presenting. So I began to upload like snippets of information that I believed told the story, and at least told a different perspective of the story. And to me, with everything that I observed, this one fits. So if you want to watch that, you can go on TikTok or BitChute. I have some on YouTube, but YouTube this is my second channel on YouTube, and so I don't take it seriously, because I know that they can shut you down any minute. And so I like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff, but I haven't gotten consistent yet, so bear with me. I don't think Keffe did it. I don't think he even had anything to do with it, really. I think that whole story is made up. We might see something happen this week, because Judge Carly Kearney has to give her ruling on this. The sources are going to be accepted, and if Keffe is going to get out and be on house arrest. So it should be really interesting. And I think it's just a pivotal point, because number one, the Kading theory is unraveling, and it's just kind of good to see that it's coming apart, as it should. And as soon as Keffe was locked up, he started saying that he lied about everything, which again, it actually started there, falling apart. Just like it kind of confirmed it, not kind of, it confirmed what I thought, which was already a theory out there. It wasn't my theory. It was Russell Poole and some other people, kind of came up with who did it, but they're dead. All of them are dead. And it's really interesting and frightening and unfortunate that that has been allowed to happen. So no, I mean, I never believed Keffe D's story. I don't think he's, I don't believe his story. This week we will hear something from Judge Carly Kearney, and so I'm kind of looking forward to that. And it's pivotal because if he gets out, okay, fine. I mean, some people say that he shouldn't get out because it's safer for him to be in jail than on the street. I say that if somebody wants to go after him, they're going to go after him either way. So if that's going to be, that's going to be. But I don't know. It's just like the Diddy aspect of this. P Diddy. Keffe D was really complaining about Diddy because he didn't get that supposed or alleged $1 million that Diddy put up. And he said Diddy called him and said to him, "Was that us?" And he even said Faith Evans called him and said the same thing. And so, that story, regardless of if they mentioned it 77 times, that story has been mentioned 7,000 times over the last couple of years. So that's an old story. And it has not been proven yet, and I don't necessarily not believe it, but again, it's just a bunch of stuff. And these people are doing this for money. That's what I mean, greed. They're doing all this for money. And it's pretty obvious. This Cash Jones, the WAC 100 guy, I think he kind of made it worse. I don't think he helped Keffe D at all with whatever kind of shenanigans they thought they were going to get away with. But the judge is also looking and questioning the sufficiency of their documents. They have bank records that aren't adding up. She's basically saying she hasn't been able to trace that $112,500 back to Jones. So how helpful was that to Keffe D? Yeah, Carl Arnold. Yeah, so that lawyer, he did introduce case law that, he did try and argue for Keffe D. He also offered a gag order to be put on Keffe D so that he wouldn't talk about the Tupac or anything like that, And so I thought that he at least had a sound argument or defense for Keffe D. Arnold started talking. Arnold says, Keffe D doesn't need Tupac's story because his life was just as exciting. He's the godfather of Compton. He's a notorious gang leader of ruled Compton. He ruled Compton with a drug trade that extended from Compton to New York to Little Rock, Arkansas, pushing 350 kilos at a time with the Mexican cartel. So Keffe D can talk about his own life. He doesn't need to talk about Tupac's life. He has an exciting life himself. And then Arnold goes on to say, and even I have been offered a reality show and pitched how Keffe D getting house arrest, coming back to fight his case would be good TV, I mean, it was so ridiculous. Even though he had a sound argument, it was just, I don't know, it was so ridiculous and just showed how vain and greedy this whole thing is. It was just, oh my goodness, it was just so vain. So Carl, even Arnold, he kind of has, he's had some very interesting people that he's represented. He represented that guy Deobra Redden, the guy that attacked the Las Vegas judge in January. He represented that guy. So that's kind of, interesting. People might want to know about that. But I'm going to say that the primary, most important aspect of why any of these people are offering you guys anything is because of your limited time with Tupac Shakur or your limited connection to someone who spent time with Tupac Shakur. These people are living vicariously through these rappers and actors, and it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. But anyway, so we don't know. I mean, I think I know because of the other narratives that's going around. But what we saw on that reenactment of the night that Tupac was killed, Dick Gregory says, what's the girl's name? Kidada Jones was in the car. That's Quincy Jones's daughter. Dick Gregory said she was in the car. How about that? So we don't know, So did they really drive up and do that? Did Orlando Anderson with a sling on his arm, according to Keffe. This is one of the reasons I started not to believe him. He said Orlando Anderson, his nephew, had a sling on his arm because he had gotten into the fight and they went to the hospital. So he went to the hospital and they put a sling on his arm. And so when he was in the back seat of the car, sitting behind the passenger seat, which is Keffe, and beside DeAndre Smith, who's behind the driver, Terrence, I can't think of his last name. But so he's saying that Orlando Anderson is going to reach over DeAndre Smith and shoot out the window because Suge Knight and Tupac should have been on their left. So he's going to have to reach over DeAndre Smith to shoot out that window at Tupac and Suge Knight. Come on. Come on. That doesn't even make sense. And I have that on my channels if you want to just kind of go and hear that. So these are the little things that I kind of picked out because it just didn't make sense. Plus, there was a lot of people saying the same, mentioning the same names. You know, this is just like a little investigation that I did. This is nothing that, you know, I went into to make a citizen's arrest or anything. This is just something that I, you know, just kind of did on my free time. So it's not adding up. But what I guess I'm trying to say is that actually it might be adding up because it is starting to unravel. Their shenanigans are starting to come apart. So I don't believe, I'm interested to see what Judge Carly Kearney is going to rule this week. Hopefully it's this week. Maybe not, but I think and hope it'll be this week. I don't believe Keffe will make bond. And as much as these characters have already lied, guys, I don't think that the court is going to entrust them with anything. And I think that it's just all just because of greed. Just, you know, it's ridiculous and it's just not good. So Judge Kearney continued to assert the court's authority to use discretion in fashioning release conditions. Jones is not an entrusted family member or a medical provider. And so they just don't trust him with being on house arrest. So looking forward to seeing what happens. Thank you guys for listening. This is Gigi. This is scene 2 of the Unsolved Murder of Tupac Shakur as we come into the finale, guys, because if Keffe does not make bail, he will have to stay in jail. And he will have to go through his trial, and don't know how long that is going to be, but he will have to be there. And so that is something that he's going to have to deal with. He was the one that bragged about killing Tupac Shakur. He was the one that was bragging about how Tupac Shakur looked like he was breakdancing as they were shooting at him and basically killing him. And he said that he looked like he was breakdancing. I thought that was such a cruel thing to say. I mean, God, okay, if you did it and all that, I mean, to get on Flag TV or one of those Art of Dialogue, all of them are feds, guys. I mean, God, I got to do another thing about this internet. That's why I don't take it seriously, guys. I'm telling you. Some of your... it's just crazy on this internet. And you know, it's like this internet is a whole different world than reality. It's like you go out in the real world and you're at work or you're hanging out with somebody or friends and you say, yeah, did you see such and such? And they have no idea who these internet people are. And so that's amazing to me too. So anyway, I don't know. I just feel a sense of relief as far as I feel like everything is kind of falling into place. Looking forward to the trial in November. And so I don't know. I mean, there's a chance that Keffe could get out. So we'll see. But I don't think it's going to happen. Well, I'm surprised that Whack 100, Cash Jones is not, you can get a felony for perjury. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. Maybe they'll just give him a tap on the hand or whatever. But so we'll see. It just didn't help. Didn't help Keffe at all. So thanks for listening. Oh, if you want to listen to interview I did on What's Happening Slim. I did that like a year or so ago about, you know, the unsolved murder of Tupac Shakur. So if you want to listen to that, you can check that out as well. But and it's What's Happening Slim. But it kind of talks about, well, it talks about this whole thing, this whole my whole little journey I went on, and kind of what I thought and what I felt. And it's kind of interesting because some of the things that I was saying back then, like I said, everything is unraveling. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. So anyway, I'm out. Peace.